friends, and welcome back to Stronger Every Day. Today we are going to talk about 10 things that you can say or do to help someone who is struggling with depression, anxiety, mental illness. And so some of these things work for me personally, and some help, but it's different for everybody. So the majority of the 10 that I picked out today help me in some way. Some help more, some help a little less. But I think it's important, as someone with mental health issues, I'm tired of hearing the shake it off, think better thoughts, take control of your mind, which that's true. You do need to take control of your mind. That is not always easy for someone who has depression and anxiety or any other mental illness. That is a battle that we battle on a daily basis, to take control of our thoughts. So some of the things that I hear others say in relation to people that have mental illness, I just shake my head sometimes, because in a way I'm happy for them, because they have no idea what it's like to live with mental illness. But in a way, I'm just tired of hearing the ignorance that sometimes comes out of people's mouth. Not that they're always trying to be hurtful, but just they have no clue what it's like. And so they speak things out of just confusion or just ignorance to the topic. And so I wanted to go over 10 different things that I think have helped me, and hopefully they will help you as far as when you're trying to communicate with someone who has mental illness. One of the things that helps sometimes is just simply asking, do you want to talk about what's going on? Is there something that I can do to help? And then listen to their response. So we always want to help, but we tend to zone out after a certain period of time, and we no longer hear what that person's saying. And then we come back with our automated response that we already knew how we were going to respond before we asked them. And no one likes that. People with mental illness or not, you want people to actually listen to you and then talk with you, not just, can I help you? And then they tune you out in 10 seconds because they already have an answer, or they're already thinking about their answer. Sometimes it's a process of just, is there anything that I can do? And sometimes their answer is going to be no. Understand that. Sometimes the answer is going to be no, there isn't. But sometimes there is. Sometimes there's things that you can do to help. And sometimes it's little things, like, for instance, for me, if I come in and Nick has unloaded the dishwasher and put the dishes away, or if he washed dishes that were in the sink, or if he took the trash out, all things that needed to be done, and I didn't want to have to ask him to do it, and I didn't want to do it myself right at the second, but he did it. Just the little things that sometimes help. Sometimes my answer to him is no, I don't want to talk about it. But when I'm ready to talk, typically I will. That's not always the case. I also wouldn't approach someone, especially if you have a child or someone who works from home. Don't approach them when they're in the middle of work from home, or don't approach them if they're in the middle of their homework, or if they're on the phone with a friend, or if they're playing a video game. That's not a good time to say, hey, it's convenient for me to talk about your mental health, so why don't you stop what you're doing? There's always times. Talk to them when you're walking the dog. Talk to them on the way to school. Talk to them on the way to an event that you're going through. Pick the appropriate time to talk. Also, if they ever come to you and say, hey, can I talk to you for a second? If it's not imperative that you must maintain what you're doing, stop and talk. Because a lot of times, if we get up the courage to come and talk, if you turn us down or turn us away because you're too busy, that conversation won't happen again. Just be intelligent about it. We all kind of know when is a good time, right? Like maybe as soon as your spouse gets home, it's not the best time. It's a learning process. It's not always an easy thing, but just try to be intelligent about the times that you pick to talk to them. Number 2 kind of goes to number 1. What can I do to help? And again, sometimes I don't know the answer to that. Always pray, right? I always want friends and family who reach out to me, I want them to pray. But what can I do to help might look like a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Maybe it's, well, I need you to pull the weight of taking care of the kids this week. I can't. I'm barely struggling to make it through, and I just need that responsibility temporarily lifted. Maybe it's, I need you to take over the chores on your home or your homestead or your house or whatever you call the area that you live. Maybe it's, I need you to take over the bills. Maybe it's, I need a week just to get away. Whatever that might look like for you. Sometimes I can voice that and talk to my husband about that, and sometimes I can't. I know that can probably get frustrating for my friends and family who are trying to reach out, but that's the best that I can do at the time. And over the course of some months and years, you start to learn what works best. And even me, as the person who has mental illness, I start to learn things that I can say that will actually help the situation. And it makes the person asking you feel better that, hey, you know, she or he said, try this, or can you do this, and that they're able to actually do something, because we want so much to help people that we love and make them feel better when they're down. And when you can't do anything, you just kind of feel useless, like, well, I mean, I can't do anything to help. And if you keep getting told there's nothing you can do over and over again, you're going to be less likely to keep asking. So as the person with mental health, it's important for me to remember that others are involved in this. It's not, you know, I am not the end all be all, right? There's other people living that need encouragement as well. And so it's just learning to love each other in the right way from both sides of the story. Number 3 is, sometimes it's just good to hold or hug someone. Now, if you don't know this person, I mean, some people are different about being hugged. I'm not a huge hugger. I do hug, but it's usually kind of a side hug and then we're done. I don't typically want to just be held when I'm upset. But sometimes it does help to know that, to actually feel someone right there with you, touching you, and knowing that in their heart they wish they could take it away, but they can't. But they want you to know that they're at least there for you, right beside you through it all. And that means a tremendous amount, I think, for both sides of the spectrum. Another question to ask, how are you doing? Sometimes you can visibly see, right? If I've not gotten out of bed in 3 days and I haven't left my bedroom, and I am basically going to the bathroom and laying back in bed, it's visibly obvious that I am struggling that day sometimes. And what a lot of people, I think, do that have depression and anxiety and mental illness is it's kind of like when they talk about someone that's alcoholic and that they hide it well. They're functioning alcoholic. It's kind of like you're functioning person with mental illness, and you tend to hide it for a lot of reasons. Sometimes you're embarrassed, sometimes you're afraid of the stigma, sometimes you're ashamed. All 3 of those have been issues for me, and up until June of 2022, and I finally kind of just said, I'm done trying to hide this. Here's real life. Here's what it looks like. And so sometimes I don't notice how I'm coping with something, but my husband will notice. Sometimes those signs are clear, sometimes they're not. And it's good to say, I think a lot of the times the two words that come out of my mouth and many others is I'm fine. And I would say 90% of the time that was not true. I either didn't want to talk about it, I didn't want to admit it, I didn't want someone to know. So I'm fine was the words that would come out of my mouth. And I try extremely hard now when I'm having a bad day or bad days to actively talk, in particular to my husband. Listen, I'm struggling today. I'm having a bad day. What that does is that communicates to them that you're having, not only that you're having a bad day, but it lets them know that instead of them coming home and then thinking, well, what's going on? They know ahead of time. So look, this is nothing that I've done. They're just having a bad day, and what can I do to help, right? Instead of, well, did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Did she misunderstand something that I said? Did I not do something? All the questions that run through our heads about why is someone upset, or why are they down or angry. I try hard to talk to him and let him know, look, I'm having a bad day. If there's something that has kind of drawn me in that direction, I will let him know. But also at the same time, it's so important to not dwell on whatever negative thing is going on and put your focus back on the Lord. Does that mean that he's going to take that problem away? Sometimes, but a lot of times it doesn't. But it means that he's going to help you and walk with you through it. So there's so much knowledge and things that we can learn in this arena of mental health, that it just takes a little bit of love and a little bit of compassion, a little bit of understanding, and a little bit of trying. And I think we could make such an amazing difference. But to be honest, that goes with a lot of aspects in life. Another thing that helps is to know, to say, I'm going to be right here with you through this whole thing. Obviously, like in my situation, my husband doesn't understand the depth of depression. Like, he doesn't understand what goes on in my mind, what goes on in my body, how I think and process things. We think and process a lot differently. He's not gonna be on that level of understanding, but he can let me know, I'm gonna be here for you. If you want to talk about it, I'm here. If you don't want to talk about it, I'm here. If you need space, I'll give you space. If you need me with you, I'll be with you. I'm going to do whatever it's going to take to help the situation, and just know that I'm here for you. I'm not going anywhere. You know, bad days are bad days. They happen to everybody. They happen to him. They happen to me. And I'm there through his bad days, and he's there through mine. And I think sometimes with mental illness, we think, if I don't put on this facade of being this happy sunshines and rainbows all the time, they're not going to care about me and love me anymore. And that's just false. True love doesn't walk away. I think that's why we have a hard time grasping God's love, because we've been let down and disappointed so many times in life that we have no clue. We can't even fathom just the depth and reach of God's love, because we don't have anything similar here on earth. But just knowing I'm going to be here for you through all this, they don't have to understand. And in my personal situation, and I think a lot of people with mental illness, I don't want you to understand. I don't want you to feel or know or fathom the depths that mental illness takes someone to, because I've been there, and I don't want someone I love to be there. But I do want you to have knowledge and understanding and a respect for what is going on. Like if someone that you love gets diagnosed with a type of cancer, you talk to the doctor, you talk to other people, you go on and do your own research online and books and studies. You want to be as knowledgeable about that particular cancer as you possibly can be. It's the same with mental illness. You're not going to feel the cancer. You're not going to suffer with the and go through the treatments and the needles and the chemo and the radiation and the surgeries and the anesthesias and the recoveries and the pain and the sore. You're not going to go through any of that. But I'm going to be right here with you to help in any way that I can. It's the same with mental illness. I don't want someone to go through and feel what I feel. That's part of why I started this channel. I just want to know that you love me through it. The number 6 is that let them know that they matter. That they matter to you and to others. So this is my, I guess you would say my demon, is that I can look at someone and I can tell them all of the amazing, wonderful, beautiful things about them, from the way they love, the way they care, the way they treat people, the way that they spend their time, spend their energy, spend their money, spend their love. I can tell them just how important every aspect of their life is to me and others. But I still struggle to believe that of myself, which is frustrating, because genuinely, when I'm talking to somebody about how much they mean, I mean every word that I'm saying. It's not me repeating a index card of notes to make someone feel better. That's my genuine response to them and their life. But I cannot feel that way about myself. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. Kind of like seeing yourself through someone else's eyes. I'm so good at seeing other people and knowing all the just beautiful things that they do for people. But when I look at myself, I don't see that person. So just knowing that I matter to someone, that something that I have done or do helps or matters, can help someone just know that your life has purpose, your life has meaning, you mean so much to me, and then tell them why. It's just that simple. And I'm not saying that you have to go around and toot their horn or be their 24/7 cheerleader in their corner. Ultimately, no one is responsible for my joy, right? That's between God and I. And Nick's not responsible for that. My dad, my in-laws, my friends, my family, they're not responsible for that. We do things to help contribute to that because we love that person, but that responsibility is on my shoulders. So, but it's just letting them know that they're meaningful, that they mean something, that life would be different and hard without them, and how their life has impacted you and others. Another thing you can ask is just, do you need anything? Sometimes you don't want to go to the grocery store. You don't want to run to town to pay bills, or go to the grocery store, or go pick up medication that you need, or go pick up dog food or cat food, or medicines for them, or if you've got a sick fur baby, in my instance, sometimes you struggle to get out is there something I can do for you? And even if they say no, you probably know them well enough to say, you know what, I'm going to run by and I'm going to mow their yard and weed eat for them. Or, you know what, in my case, and I know people are going to have opinions, but I love Diet Pepsi or Diet Dr. Pepper. You know, I know she loves those, so let me run a 6-pack by of those. Or, you know, I bet they've not been eating that well, probably just, if eating at all, probably just junk. So let me cook a nice supper and just take it by. They can reheat it when they want to. I know they're struggling right now with finances, so let me just call the electric company and pay their bill. Just things that you know from knowing them that would put a little smile on their face. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be something that you spend money on. Like I said, you can come, maybe you come clean up their yard for them. Maybe you come to clean their house for them. Maybe you come take the trash off. Whatever that looks like. Just that little thing. Now, sometimes when someone asks me, do I need something, I will say, hey, if you don't mind, could you grab this while you're out? But sometimes I don't want to bother anybody, right? And we all tend to feel like we're going to bother someone, even if they ask. So a lot of times, just do it. You know, if they've had surgery and it's in the summer and they have a yard and you have a lawnmower, just go mow their yard. Like, they don't have to ask you, just go do it. If you know that they've been sick, or again, if they've had surgery or they have something going on with a loved one, run some food by. You know, even if it's just gift cards where that they don't have to worry about that missed time from work, that they can go buy something. If you know them well enough, go to the store for them. There's so many different things that we can do if we would just take a few seconds to think about it. Another thing that you could say is, hey, you know, maybe we can spend some time together. Maybe that looks like you going to their house, or they're coming to your house. Maybe that looks like going to dinner, or going to a movie, or going for a walk. There's so many different things that we can do to spend time together. I have a friend that she also struggles with depression, and I talked with her probably a month ago, and I said, you know, just think about it. But why don't I come to town? She doesn't live here. I said, why don't I come to town and we can go eat? Either just she and I, or her husband and my husband, the 4 of us can go, or whatever that looks like. Sometimes there's a friend of mine, we'll just go sit on her porch and we'll talk for hours. We just kind of get lost in conversation and we'll just sit and talk for hours. And that is such a wonderful thing as well. It doesn't always have to be spending money. Just a little time, either getting out of the house or having somebody interact with you so that you're not so isolated. And there's going to be days that they're going to tell you no, because it's just a lot going on. And when I say this, don't stay after them and like aggravate and pester, but maybe in the next couple days call and say, hey, I just wanted to check, do you care if I come over? Or why don't you come over here? Or why don't you meet me at the park? Or let's go grab a cup of coffee. Whatever that you guys are into. Just the interaction and the not isolating means a lot. Number 9 is just listen. Listen to what we have to say. Sometimes, depending on where our depression is at the moment, you are going to be able to look at it and say, that's so in left field, because everybody loves her, or everybody cares about her, everybody thinks she does great things, everybody wants to be around her. But when your mind is in that space, you don't see or feel any of that. It's not about telling them how wrong they are. Just listen. Just listen to what they're saying. And then once you've heard what they've said, then talk with them and put your more clear-minded thoughts into the conversation. There's times that with everything in me, I believe something is one way, and then my husband will say, well, I'm not seeing that at all. Here's what I believe. And that helps so much, just to have his perspective. I'm not wrong, he's not wrong, just different perspectives, different ways that we're seeing things based on where we both are in life. It's not just people with depression. We're all in different spaces of life, and sometimes we just need to hear that other perspective. The last thing is to have empathy, right? So empathy and love and understanding go so far, not just in the mental health area, but every area of life, every area. Am I perfect at this? I will be the first to tell you no. There are times that I lose my temper. There are times I act like someone I'm not proud of. There are times that I get just things that we do, right? I'm trying to think of something recently that I've done that I just wanted to shake my head about, and I'm drawing a blank, not because I haven't done them, but because I'm drawing a blank right now here in this moment. But there's things that I do all the time that I have to just learn from. But just having some empathy and understanding that even though you don't think and feel the same way that someone does, doesn't mean you can't love that person, and doesn't mean you can't receive that love from them. If you are in a relationship with someone, or your child, or your spouse, your father, mother, brother, sister, uncle, friend has depression, just do a little research, get a little knowledge. That way you have empathy, true empathy, and that you can actually have good conversation with them to help them understand the way things actually are in that time versus sometimes the way we're perceiving something to be. So those are my 10, kind of a longer video today, but those are my 10. Those things have helped me. Are they always a home run hit? No. Depression and anxiety for me has been a learning process for me about myself and how I handle things, and for my friends and family who are interacting with me. And it's also a learning process for me when I'm interacting with other people who have depression and anxiety, because there's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences. So I like to end all my videos this way. You guys have probably heard it before, but I want to make sure that you hear it today if you haven't heard it ever, or if you haven't heard it today. God loves you. I love you. Your friends love you. Your family loves you. And we need you here. We'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye.